And as, of course, proudly brought to you by Peak Milk, we're going to be discussing the link between poverty and security. Now, of course, during our current economic climate, some people can argue that because money is tight, some people are going to resort to all sorts of crime because they don't have the money. Things like Galamsey, people who are usually, they will say that the ones who are doing most of the menial jobs in Galamsey are the ones who don't have the finances. Going to be having that discussion, and of course, as we watched on Mind Your Language, we're going to discuss, not discuss, as Sheila rightfully put it. Of course, we want to remind you that brought to you by Peak Milk. So drink Peak every day. Peak Milk is richly packed with essential vitamins and minerals. So more Peak Milk means more brain power for you and your family. Get stronger and sharper. Drink Peak Milk every day. You can visit the official Peak Facebook page at www.facebook.com/Peak West Africa. And joining me right now, I have with me Dr. Obri Abua, who's the head of department and marketing services plus consultancy at Accra Polytechnic, and he joins me right now. Good morning, sir. Okay, so what is the link between poverty and the security of our nation?
Well, I want to correct one impression. Poverty is not just lack of income. Okay. It's wider than income.
Some people say it's even a disease.
It's a disease. It's more than HIV/AIDS.
Wow.
And we need to establish the concept first. What do we mean by poverty at all? It has been defined in many ways. The National Planning Development Commission had a definition. I just want to paraphrase it. It's lack of access to basic necessities of life. Shelter, clothing, food, and even sex. Yes. If you lack these things, it can affect your personal security, community, and even the nation. You see, so we need to look at it in broader perspective. Okay. And every government is confronted with this basic necessities of life. If you take housing, shelter, the state is planning to provide shelter for people if they don't have it. If you know where people are sleeping, they are sleeping under leak roofs, only to see that their counterparts are in Trasacco, more than necessary. What do you think they will do? They will run there and try to attack them. You see, if you lack food, agriculture is going down. People have poor access to the land, lack of access to land. Land will give you the food, will give you your shelter, will give you income, employment. So politicians come with an agenda to correct these things. You see, if you don't have it, let's even connect quickly to the land guards. These land guards used to farm. Now their lands have been sold to estate developers. They have now been turned to employees on their own land to guard land. And people are competing for it. And so they are armed by the rich. The poor man can easily be manipulated. And then if it goes on in every part of the country, what do you see? Chaos. It affects even the stability of the nation.
Okay.
Yes. So we can quickly link these poverty issues. Look at women. In Ghana, the incidence is high among women, and most of the women are in agriculture. And if agriculture is falling, they don't have the tools, they don't have the facilities to go into farming. So what do? They leave the place and come to the city. They are vulnerable. They don't have much income, so the rich take advantage of them, especially the young women and all that. They get diseases. If you have HIV, what do? You infect others. Doesn't affect the security of the nation, doesn't affect the productivity of the worker. So let's look at it the broader perspective. Then we will understand the huge nature of the problems confronting the nation.
Why is it important for the state to take a very strategic look then at poverty?
Yeah, it's very important because, as I said, it can affect the security of the nation. Because they can, when the poor become wiser, they feel somebody is the cause of their problem. They will rebel. They will organize. When they organize themselves, politician is in trouble. When he goes to his constituency, They are always chasing him around. If he cannot, some beat them up. It has happened. Okay? The head of state is not secured. I'm sure the president doesn't sleep because he's confronted with housing. People are calling him names. Everybody is looking for something. If you are an MP, people come to your house for school fees, health fees, all those. It's poverty. If you hear somebody has beaten the child because he asked for more soup, nutrition, if the children are malnourished, it affects the intelligence of the student. That's why school feed program and all those are meant to reduce poverty, so that these children, you see, there's a linkage between what you eat and your intellectual capacity.
Getting good nutrition.
Yes. If you don't get that, how would your brains develop? If your brains are not developed, we get problems. How would we get skilled labor, highly skilled labor to change Ghana? You see, they get to a basic school and drop out because the brains cannot, cope with the high level of intellectual activity.
Okay, let me ask you. There's a saying that, which has been around for as long as I can remember, that, the rich will always be rich and the poor will always be poor. It doesn't just happen in Ghana, it happens in pretty much the whole world over. So, and everybody's always talking about eradication of poverty. Is that even an attainable goal? Not just in Ghana, but the world over.
Well, the whole world is confronted with that. But we have poor people who have become rich.
True.
It's an effort. Some people remain where they are. If you take this basic need hierarchy theory of Abraham Maslow, you don't remain where some remain. Some are down the pit, but down the pit they are.
You can gradually come.
Yeah, it's a matter of opening, giving the poor certain facility, access to education. How many people have access to quality education? I'm not just saying just build a school, no teacher, no textbook, no pens. Why is it that some people go to school and score 0? It means there's something wrong. So, apart from just the shelter and all that, we need certain facilities to make those people change to better quality of life. So, education, from basic school to university, is it quality? Water, is it quality? If people search for water and the water is contaminated, the consequences. The health facility, how many doctors are there? In my village, when you have dental problem, the dentist comes once in a year or once in 2 months. They will tell you, wait. So by the time it comes, you are gone. If you are sick today, this Tuesday, the dentist will come next week. So we don't have the mix of the resource, human resource, to even respond to the services that the people require. What they do, they resort to other abuses. So poverty goes beyond just shelter and clothing. What are the facilities? People find they don't have markets. If you tell young people to go and produce tomatoes, nobody buys it. What do you think they'll do? They will now grow weed. They will grow in areas where it's good for a tomato. It's also good for marijuana. So if you not buy the tomatoes, we give you marijuana and you buy atudu. Yes. And when you get the marijuana, what do? Armed robbery.
There's a link.
Yes. So the linkage, and then the armed robbery, whom would they attack? Is the rich, because you have made them the policy maker. Where is the factory for tomatoes in the north? Palugu, come to Techiman area. Where is it? And we go to Italy and bring processed tomato. You have eliminated all these young people. All these young girls are coming to Accra to do what? Look at where they stay. And it's even more serious. They are raped. If you go to Tama Station and others, you see, some even sleep on the vagaries of this weather. So it's national security. You see, it's not the enemy coming from Nigeria or Boko Haram. The poverty is of paramount interest to the government.
Dr. Yeboah, now, just based on what you're saying, and, the fact that poverty, the link with national security, do you then think that as a country, and not just put the blame on government, do you think that we even take it seriously enough or must we be confronted to get to some of the worst points before then we must set up? Do you think currently Ghana is serious about eradicating poverty, not just
talk? Yeah, we have tried. I think SADA is part of the poverty reduction.
And also program. There's so many issues.
GIDA, all those.
Also many issues.
Every government that had come to Ghana had a policy reduction initiative. If you take the school feeding, national health insurance, they are all, but only that they are not adequate to mitigate the cost of the incidence of poverty. You don't have the resources to change or reduce poverty overnight. That is what is worrying us. And then how we can sustain it. You see? So there is the awareness that we need to get certain policies done. But as to whether they are effective, as to whether we can follow up and reduce that poverty, because we still have children failing at BC. So when they stop, they drop out of school.
And they end up mostly.
Yes, why do you say the person must pass BC only to say that the second stage there are limited vacancies? What do you expect him to do? He finished second school, the universities are closed. So where does he go? He'll go to the street and take up other jobs that may be inimical to society. So we need to expand certain facilities, provide quality life, education, health, agri, transport. If you go to my village, you cross rivers before you go. I mean, you have to go to swimming pools. Wow. The number of potholes you go to before you get to the village. Won't I get angry when I come to Accra and we don't see that road producing anything? Okay. Won't I get angry at anybody who is a minister or an MP? You see, so I'm just using myself. I'll be so angry. Mm-hmm. And that will affect national security. Then the police will have to come and arrest us and all. They are all incidents of poverty.
All right, Dr. Yeboah, you mentioned the fact that, of course, successive governments have always come and they put in some kind of policy in place or things in place to try and, take steps to curb poverty. However, what are some of the things in place? Looking at SADA, all these things. What do you think effectively stops almost a lot of them from even working, or somewhere along the line it hits a snag?
Yeah, it's the way we draw the policy. Are the people who are to be affected involved?
They usually consult. Usually they consult.
We have all the NGOs in enough. And instead of poverty is high in the Three Northern regions and Brona Afo and Central. Are the people involved? Do they take over after the project life has ended? Do the people, let's say, do you think all the people in the north or where they planted the trees, their priority was planting of trees? You see, there are places where the policymaker in Accra thinks that the people need toilet, so we go and fix toilet, but that's not what they need. So we must involve the people in the process. This is a basic UN philosophy, capacity building. Let's involve everybody in the process so we own the process. Don't think you are better than the chief in the village. Or if the chief should not think he's better than the pauper down there. He has something up there. How he wants to be helped. You don't just go and say get money and go and solve your problem. He uses it for funeral and drink. He cannot repay. You see, if the politician will stop thinking they know better than those of us in the village, they will always fail. Come to the village, discuss our problem, or discuss our problem with us, and then we all think of how best we can solve our problem. Other than that, we give youth in driving, they take the cars and leave them because driving is not easy. Taxi work is not easy. The boy has never done it before, but you give him a car, you're thinking that you go and drive and make money. They abandon the car on the way.
Okay.
So we need to.
You mentioned about obviously when it comes to these policies, the consultant, the everyday person that it affects. But I'm sure I know it's been done in the past. Yeah. In your opinion, what do you think is the way forward? Because is it just about discussing? Is it about government setting up organizations to? Where do you think is the way forward?
Yeah, we need to identify what will actually turn things around. We need to be targeting our funds to an identified problem. Okay, some are.
And the problems are many.
Yeah, there are many. So let's say
the top three. Where in your opinion do you think is the top three?
Oh, the top three: education and health. Because education can give us the skills and knowledge, practical skills and knowledge, the theory, but practical skills to equip the young people with hands-on skills or career. And if they are employed, do you think they'll go and take arms and go and charge on somebody? That can also kill them. So the two most important things, education. If he's well educated, he can fend for himself. He's healthy. He eats good food. The hospitals are well equipped to take care of him. It's practical.
I said three.
Agriculture. Give them good food to eat.
Good food.
3 things and we are all right.
You made a point though about if a person is educated, but yet we know there's a lot of people with lots of degrees and graduates who are unemployed and still can't get work.
Yeah,
so how does that?
It's a kind of poverty. The poverty can be at any level. Tell the person that even if you are a professor, you can go into agriculture. You can. I've not seen. I've always advocated when a professor show us that he can lay blocks. A professor in building, he tells you he's an engineer. People are expecting the engineer to come and show us how we do better things. We don't see them. We want somebody who is an auto electrician or auto professor to come and teach us basic things, rudiments about maintaining a car. We want the youth to emulate them, to be their mentors. You see, those who have gone up like me, and we need to practically demonstrate our knowledge. We have disappointed our young people and our communities. We go to school, come back and misbehave. That's what we are doing in this country. We have been sent to school to come back and solve problems and not to steal them and not to think we are better than them.
Okay.
You see?
Dr. Yeboah, almost out of time on this, but on the flip side, I think the last question I would ask you is it just an excuse then for people to say, well, because of certain conditions, I'm just going to go to criminality? Is it just an excuse? Isn't it then just given as an excuse?
No, we have created the criminals. We have created them.
Wow.
We have created. Last time somebody asked me, these young boys who are criminals, you think they were born criminals? We have created them. We have created prostitutes by our system. I think some people intentionally create poverty so that when it's time for election, they can come and distribute 5 cedis, 10 cedis. And since we have never seen 5 cedis before, we value it very high. It's intentional. At times, that's what we think. That some people intentionally create poverty so that they can take advantage and manipulate us because they are privileged. And because lack of knowledge, you perish. Lack of knowledge is poverty. And people think that way.
All right.
So we need to correct that.
All right. So, Dr. Yeboah, we have to have you back.
Yeah.
Some very interesting points there. Thank you very much. So that's Dr. Yeboah. He's the head of department, Marketing Services Plus Consultancy at Accra Polytechnic.